Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia and here on this channel we talk about writing, journaling, and productivity to help you curate a life that you love. So for today we are doing part 2 of a small series that I have started that will be talking about journaling during like times of the day, like seasons of the year, all that good stuff. So the first part of this little series was my video on morning journaling, which I put out not too long ago, and it dove into specific journal prompts and journaling exercises that you can do in the mornings to help you get started with your day, to be productive, to set yourself up for success, find happiness, and all of that good stuff. Today we're going to be talking about evening journaling, which is a bit different from morning journaling, so we will be going into the exercises, prompts, and all of the nitty-gritty when it comes to evening journaling, and it's a bit different, so I encourage you to check out both videos to see which you prefer. Personally, I prefer evening journaling. I really do. So that's just some insight into my personal preference. So before we get into this video, I wanted to let you know that this video in particular is actually inspired from a blog post that I wrote. So I actually have 2 blog posts, one on morning journaling and one on evening journaling now up on my website. So feel free to look at those posts to get a greater, more in-depth look at this topic. I won't be mentioning all of the prompts here in this video, so please be sure to check out that link if you're interested. I'll put it in the description box down below. Also, if you haven't already, please be sure to check out the link down below to my newsletter, which gives you 100 free journal prompts. A lot of those journal prompts on there actually are perfect for morning or evening journaling. You obviously get to pick when you do it, but I do have 100 free journal prompts that you guys can check out down below. I know I've mentioned it before, but I haven't mentioned it in a while, so I thought I would let you guys know that if you want 100 prompts to get started in journaling, then that is there. It's completely free. You do sign up for my newsletter. I email twice a month, so about bi-weekly. And recently I did come out with another newsletter like today, as I'm filming anyway, not like when this is live, but today I came out with one. And in those newsletters, I do give you more insight into my personal life as well as my personal projects, and I update you about videos and blog posts before I ever actually post them, so it is like you get to see the content first, just saying. So, and one last thing before we get into this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more journaling content like this. And let's go ahead and get into the bulk of what today's video is all about. So as I mentioned, sorry, I'm like tethered to my desk, but as I mentioned, this video is inspired by a blog post about evening journaling, so I will be referencing the blog post on my phone because that's what we're basing all of this off of. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was how morning journaling and evening journaling are different from one another. It can be a common misconception to believe that journaling can just be like a thing that you can do at any time of the day, which is true, yes, but there are certain prompts that are better suited, certain exercises in journaling that are better suited for morning, evening, afternoon, that kind of thing. When I think of morning journaling, I think of forward thinking, forward planning, manifesting, and affirmations. You know, morning journaling is all about thinking of your goals and then going after them because the day is ahead of you and you have 12 to 24 hours, depending on how long you want to be awake, of the day to do things that you want to do to achieve your dreams. When it comes to evening journaling, on the other hand, it tends to be more reflective, at least in my experience. Evening journaling is more about recounting the events of the day, reflecting on how you felt, and really diving into harder topics that you wouldn't typically address at the beginning of the day, because the beginning of the day should be reserved for positivity and forward planning, while the evening can be, again, a period of reflection. So, of course, in this video, I am going to be giving you the evening exercises that I love best. So we're going to go ahead and start with number 1, which is, of course, to reflect on the day. This is probably one of the easiest ways to tackle evening journaling because it's very simple and it doesn't require much of you. In the evening, one way that I love to journal is just to reflect on the events of the day. Now, on boring days, this isn't always necessary, but on days filled with a lot of emotion, maybe there was an argument, maybe you did something really fun and memorable, maybe you traveled somewhere, or you did something with your friends, or a new idea came to you, or you had some bout of inspiration. These are things that you can recount and retell in your journal and sort of reflect on how the day went. Also, if you are new to journaling, this is by far one of the easiest ways to get into the habit of daily journaling. At the end of every single day, go to your journal and reflect on what happened, write out your thoughts, whatever you felt in the day, and really go into it. This is a great way to set yourself up for journaling because it doesn't require any prompts, it doesn't require tons of writing. You could literally write a paragraph about what happened that day, but guess what? You still journaled. So it's a really good way to get into it if you are struggling with it. Another reason that reflecting on the day in your journal is a really good thing to do in the evenings is simply because when you go to bed, if you don't talk about it or write about it or whatever, or reflect on your day, you're going to be laying there awake reflecting on your day. Our brains naturally want to replay the events of the day to process information, to process what happened, how we felt about situations, and where we want to go moving forward. And because of this, it can be kind of time consuming and a little frustrating to fall asleep if your mind is just whizzing around with all of these ideas. So it can be very helpful to journal all of these ideas and thoughts and feelings onto a paper and kind of separate it from your mind to prepare you for sleep. The way that you go about reflecting in your journal is very simple. Just ask yourself, what did I do today and how did I feel? And then write about it. There's not really any need for prompts. It's just kind of a free-flowing sort of writing exercise, and I think it's very beneficial. It's kind of like having a diary, but it works really well for a lot of people who are struggling to get into journaling because, as I consider this, it is the gateway exercise for getting into daily journaling. So the next type of evening journaling exercise that I really like doing is called stream of conscious writing. Now, stream of consciousness is essentially where you allow your mind to wander from topic to topic and just kind of let it come naturally. I don't know the exact definition of stream of consciousness, but in my opinion, or at least in my experience with stream of conscious writing, it's a great way to go from idea to idea without any real destination in mind. It's sort of like reflecting on the day, except you don't necessarily have to reflect on the day. Sometimes I will pick a topic, let's just say conquering our fears. Let's just say that's a topic I want to talk about. I might start out in this journaling tree talking about what fears I have, how I've conquered them in the past, or what fears I want to conquer, how I might go about doing so, and eventually I'll probably get off topic, and that's okay, because when it comes to stream of conscious writing, there is no topic necessarily. You just kind of write whatever comes to you. I find that for me personally, when I do stream of conscious writing, I start out with say that topic of conquering a fear, and I might end up reflecting on an old friendship where we don't talk anymore and I kind of miss them, but I'm trying to deal with that. So we go into a weird journey and end up somewhere completely different from where we started. And that's okay. Stream of conscious writing can really help you figure out what's on your mind that you're not fully addressing. It's something that I love to do, and I do write pages upon pages when I do this, so it's more of a hefty journal topic, but it can be very beneficial to recognize what is taking precedence in your mind. Again, I typically start with something very simple. Sometimes I'll just start reflecting on my day and see where that goes. Sometimes I will use a journal prompt to ask myself a question and then see where I end up. And again, there's no destination in mind. You're just kind of letting your mind wander, writing about different things that you think of, no matter how crazy or how off topic they are. And eventually you'll come to different revelations about yourself and what is on your subconscious or just on your mind that you don't always address. So my next journaling exercise for evening journaling is gratitude. Now, gratitude is the only item on this list that is also on my morning journaling exercise list as well. The reason for that is because gratitude is one of those things that I personally think you can do almost any time of the day. And in the mornings, it's a really good way to start your day with positivity, but in the evenings, it's a really good way to round out your evening. I like to write down the things that I was grateful for that day because it makes me feel more connected to my life in general. I think I struggle a lot with disconnect, but it also helps me to remember what I enjoy about my life and what I'm thankful for and what I look forward to. To give you an idea of how I go about gratitude journaling, I'm going to keep this a little brief because we did talk about it already in another video. I did want to point out that when I do gratitude journaling, I try not to think of the big picture. And by big picture, I mean I try not to write things like this. I'm thankful for the roof over my head. I'm thankful for my friends and family. I'm thankful for food in my fridge. I'm thankful for my pet rabbit. And those things are great things to be thankful for, don't get me wrong. It's just that I don't want to mention them because these are constants in my life. So with the first time you do a gratitude journaling exercise, it's totally fine to do big picture. And I am going to call it that just because it makes sense to me, but essentially I'm talking about the constants in your life that you are thankful for. I'm thankful for my current car. Yes, that's a constant in my life because as of right now, it's not going to disappear. It's not a temporary thing. And yes, I may get a new car down the road, maybe 3 years from now or something. I have no idea. But it is a constant in my life as of this moment. Same for my friends, my family, the roof over my head, etc. So the first time you do a gratitude journal exercise, I think it's totally fine to write about these big things that you are thankful for. But as you continue journaling, if you continue to do gratitude lists every day, it's going to be a little repetitive if you continue to say that you're thankful for the same things. So instead of always saying I'm thankful for my house, which I am, but in order to avoid repetition and to avoid getting bored with these gratitude lists, I challenge myself to be thankful for smaller things. Let's say that I go out on a date with my partner this evening, then I could be thankful for that. Or let's say I hang out with my sister this evening, I could be thankful for the opportunity to do that. It's all about finding the little things in life and, showing gratitude for them, writing them down, and just really focusing on the things that made you happy during the day. So this next topic that I like to work on when it comes to evening journaling is self-discovery. So I actually have an entire video about journaling for self-discovery that I recommend you watch because this topic kind of deserves its own video, if not more than that. So I would recommend checking that out. I also have a few journal prompts that I will put a link to. They're on my blog for journaling for self-discovery. So if you want more prompts than what I'm going to offer here on camera, I recommend checking that out. But journaling for self-discovery is a good thing to do at night because that's when we are at our most vulnerable. Right before bed, we are in a space where we are very reflective, we are vulnerable, and we are able to approach ourselves in a very different light than we do during the day. During the day, we're so focused on our to-do lists, we're a little bit frazzled, there's a lot going on, but in the evening when we're winding down, that's really the time that we have to explore ourselves. And this is one of my favorite things to do in journaling is journaling for self-discovery. So I definitely encourage you to do this because it's a great way to kind of find an identity and to focus on who you are at the root, at the base of you, and to figure out what you like and where you want to go in life. I'm going to go ahead and put a few prompts on the screen that have some journal prompts that will help you for self-discovery because I feel like when it comes to self-discovery, you really do need to use journal prompts in order to direct your thoughts. While yes, you could do stream of conscious writing like we mentioned earlier to discover yourself and the patterns, it can be really beneficial to start out with some journal prompts related to self-discovery in order to better gain insight on who you are and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and list a few prompts. What are you most passionate about? What are the top 3 values that matter most in your life? How do these values reflect the way that you live? What is one thing you want to accomplish in life and why? These are just a few prompts. Obviously, there's tons and I have more that you can look at in that video or in the blog post, whichever you prefer. But I do think that it's a great way to kind of end your evening with a little bit of self-reflection. So I definitely encourage that. Okay, so the next evening journaling exercise that I highly recommend that you do is shadow work. Now, the term shadow work could sometimes rub people the wrong way. I think it's kind of taken a sort of spiritual or partially religious connotation. So when you think of the word shadow work, you might think of Wicca or paganism. And while yes, they do use that term quite a bit, I think that shadow work can be used for anybody. And I don't really know what else to call it. Shadow work to me is a way of self-reflection, but instead of focusing on just your overall sense of self, you are focusing solely on the negative aspects or the things that you struggle with. Shadow work is about identifying your fears, overcoming them, working through trauma, working through heartache, grief, just the really dark, sad aspects, negative aspects of life. For me personally, I look at it as a way to address the things that are holding me back, are harming me mentally, emotionally, and using certain journal prompts and conversations to find clarity and self-love through journaling. I actually want to have a whole video on shadow work at some point. Now isn't the best time for me personally to do it, but I do want to talk about it a little bit more in depth later on. So if you guys are interested in shadow work, please let me know down in the comments below. And again, when I say shadow work, I do just mean journaling about the negative and more complicated facets of life that may cause emotional unrest. So shadow work or shadow journaling takes a deep dive into the things that we don't want to talk about. They're typically topics that we are not prepared for or ready to talk to others about, and they're the kind of topics that you might talk to your therapist about or something that you work through in private because it's heavy and dark. I'm going to go ahead and provide a few prompts up on the screen related to shadow journaling and shadow work. What is one negative thought or situation that plagues me? Why does it affect me so much? What am I afraid of? Why? What is something I regret? Why? How do I react to situations that don't go my way? Why do I react like this? Again, these are very basic, and I only listed a few prompts, but there's tons that you can find. I do plan on making an entire graphic for the shadow journaling, shadow work prompts, but I don't have one yet. But I do plan on doing that at some point, and I will direct you to that graphic at some point or another. One thing I want to discuss here about shadow work is that because it's a heavy topic, I think it's very important to handle it with care. Because you have to dive into the deeper, darker aspects of your life, it is so easy to get overwhelmed, to become scared, and to sort of close up. I think the best advice that I have about shadow work right now is just to take it very carefully, to be transparent with yourself, to love on yourself, and be understanding when it comes to these darker topics. Okay, so my next journaling exercise for evening journaling, I would like to call it next steps. So this is very similar to affirmations and manifestations, except it's a more reflective approach. So instead of saying, today I would like to do this, or today I will manifest this, you are reflecting on what you did in the day and planning for tomorrow. So I'm going to give you a few journal prompts to kind of get this going. What went right today? What went wrong? How can I improve tomorrow? So I typically use it in this order too. I use all three when I do these next step journaling things. I think this is a really good thing that you can do when you do the reflect on your day or stream of consciousness writing at the end of the day, because it helps you to make a plan for tomorrow. So you can ask yourself what went right, and then name all the ways that today was a good day. What went wrong? Name some things you struggled with or things that didn't live up to your expectations. And how can you improve tomorrow? And this is where affirmations, manifestations, and all of that come into play. I think with this next steps journaling, it's really beneficial if you write it down the night before, and then in the next morning, when you are making your affirmations or making your daily plan, look at that answer to the question, how can I improve tomorrow? And see how you can improve that day. See what ideas you can implement into your daily schedule, daily routine to make that day better than yesterday. And alright guys, well, thank you for watching today's video. It was a bit long, I think. I'll know when I go back and edit, then I'll know. But I think it was pretty long, and so hopefully you guys enjoyed all of this information. I might dive in deeper to some of the topics mentioned today. That's my goal anyway. We'll see. Life throws me curveballs all the time, so I don't know. But anyway, I hope that you are able to figure out what you want to do when it comes to morning or evening journaling. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add. So thank you again for watching, and until next time, I will catch you later.